Okay, here we go. Because I think the life and miracles of Saint Nicholas is very interesting, and I don't think you will read it yourself if I send it to you. I'm gonna read it aloud to you and comment on it a little bit. Vita and Miracula Sancti Nicolai. The life and miracles of Saint Nicolai from the Legenda Aurea, the golden legend of Jacobi de Voragine. Uh, Jacobus de Voragine is absolutely not important. What is important is he lived in the 13th century in Italy. He was a bishop of some kind. What is important is the golden legend, Legenda Aurea, which is the collection of the lives of saints. It is a big ass collection of the lives of saints. Everyone who was anyone in ancient and medieval hagiography had to be in Legenda Aurea. So it's like a big collection of legends of the saints. And Jacobus de Voragine, he did not write them himself. He just gathered them. And this is a translation, a recent translation by a guy in America. His name is Bernard Stockerman. I just got it from his webpage. I could translate it, right? But it would take me time, and I don't. It's a one evening project. It's not a big project. Jacobus de Voragine did not write it. He translated it, or he rather made an editing of an existing text. Here we go. It's 10 pages, so but there is a title page, so it's 8 pages long. We have you can see we have the Latin text on the left and the English text on the right. Nicholas, the name, is said to come from Nikos, which is victory, and Laos, which is people. Hence, Nicholas is the victory of the people. That is, victory over the base sins of the people. Base sins is some bullshit. We don't know what base sins is, but we look at the left. Vitiorum que et popularia and vilia sunt. So it means just the sins that are both common and really nasty. But I don't know why the hell he calls it the base sins of the people. Or it means victory in the sense that by his life and his teaching, he taught many peoples how to conquer vice and sin. That's pretty easy to understand. Or it comes from Nikos, victory, and Laos, praise, meaning victorious praise. Or from Nitor, brightness, and Laos, the people, meaning brightness of the people, for he had in him that which brightens and purifies. For according to some Ambrose, the divine word is cleansing, true confession is cleansing, holy contemplation is cleansing, and good works and cleansing. His it is starting. The life starts with the etymology of the name. What does the name itself mean in Greek? It's a Greek name, and what it may mean. It's a guesswork. He doesn't really know what it means, but he's got some theories. I don't suppose he knows Greek at all. I suppose he got it from his sources. We will soon see what are his sources. And so it just, Middle Ages love that. I mean, the medieval people love etymologies. They love, finding out where the word come from, because they think that they understand more if they know what does the word mean, and what it comes from. Um, Saint Ambrose, apparently, yeah, we need some Ambrose once in a while. We need some good big star of medieval theology to listen to support what we're saying, of course. This legend is written by the Argolic doctors. Argos, according to Saint Isidore, is the city of Greece from which the name Argolics comes, meaning Greeks. Others say that Patriarch Methodius wrote it in Greek and that John the Deacon translated it into Latin and added many things. That can be pretty sure. That can you be pretty sure of. Yeah, there is John the Deacon, and he basically wrote the Latin life of Saint Nicolaus. If you use a Greek source by Methodius, well, probably. Uh, the legend about Argolic doctors, I have no idea what it's supposed to mean, probably nothing much. St. Isidore is an author of a medieval encyclopedia. So if you want to know what something means, you go to St. Isidore. It's called etymologist. It's like Encyclopedia Britannica of the Middle Ages. It's about cities and about the world as it is, and about animals and plants and gemstones and their meaning and their symbol. It's actually a really funny book. Chapter one. Yeah, so we see that he did not he self says that he did not write that, he translated it, he edited it from John the Deacon. There is John the Deacon text. I know it is, but I don't care to translate it. Nicholas, a citizen of Patara, was born to rich and holy parents. Well, of course. His father was Epiphanes and his mother was called Joanna, in Latin Johanna. He was conceived in the first flower of their youth, and thereafter they led a life of continence. Oh, well, of course. Yeah, the babies conceived in the first flower of their youth are, of course, the best quality babies, and that's we all know. And they led a life of continence because, as we know, sex is uh, suspicious, and it's always more holy to live a life of continence. It means that they never had sex after giving birth to Nicolaus, Epiphanes, and Joanna. On the first day he was being bathed, he stood upright in the basin. Yeah, that's weird. That's I can appreciate that it's weird. Why does the author mention that he stood upright in the basin? Well, probably because it's a reference to the baptism, that he was kind of mm, not pretending, not playing, no, but anticipating. He was anticipating to be baptized. This bath was he was anticipating to be baptized. Furthermore, on Wednesdays and Friday he would accept the breast only once. Wow, that's a really holy baby. On Wednesdays and Fridays. That's why on Wednesdays and Fridays. And Fridays, because on Friday is the day when Christ died, and Wednesday is the day of uh, not assumption, ascension of Christ to heaven. So Wednesday is glory and Friday is sorrow, and that's the day when you will fast. Normally, the adults would fast on that day. They would not eat meat, or they would eat only one meal, or something like that. As a young man, he avoided the wantonness of others, preferring to frequent the churches, and there he would retain his memory of all the Holy Scripture that he was able to understand. Uh, Wantonness of others. That's some bullshit word. Let's see what he means. Factum autem juvenis aliorum devitans lascivias ecclesiarum potius. Lascivias, I mean, he avoided the light-heartedness, stupid tomfoolery, stupid plays, something like that, something like that. Uh, yeah. He was, instead of playing, being a fool with others' children, other young men, he was frequenting the churches, and then he would retain in his memory all the Holy Scripture that he was able to understand. After his parents died, he began to consider how to distribute the great wealth, not so as to gain the praise of men, but for the glory of God. That's smart. Now it happened that his neighbor, a noble birth but fallen into poverty, had three daughters, whom he was constrained to prostitute, that he might survive by their shameful commerce. Oh my fucking God! When the saint learned of this, he was horrified by the crime. He wrapped a lump of gold in a cloth, secretly tossed it through the window during the night, and withdrew unseen. When the man arose the next morning, he found the lump of gold, and giving thanks to God, he celebrated the wedding of his firstborn daughter. Uh, that's, yeah, that's a nice thing to do. Not long after this, the servant of God performed a similar deed. The man again found the gold and burst into lavish praises of God, proposing to keep watch from now on to discover who had saved him from his poverty. A few days later, he threw in a double lump of gold, the sound of which awakened the man. He pursued the fleeing Nicholas, saying to him, "Stop and let me see you." Running faster, he recognized Nicholas. Immediately prostrating himself, he wished to kiss Nicholas's feet, but Nicholas refused him and demanded that he never reveal him as long as he lived. And the here we have the famous legend. Here we have the source of Santa Claus. Here we find out why it's Saint Nicholas who is bringing gifts to the children on the Christmas evening. It's exactly because of this legend. After this, the Bishop of Myra died, and the bishops convened to appoint a new bishop for that church. There was only one among them, a bishop of great authority, on whose choice the opinions all depended. Having admonished them all to fast and pray, the night he heard a voice telling him that the hour of matins he should watch the doors of the church, and that he should consecrate a bishop, the first man to arrive there, who would have the name Nicholas. Wow, that's an interesting way of choosing a bishop. So it was a vision, right? It was a vision? No. He heard a voice telling him, right. It was a revelation. The hours of matins means very late in the night. The matins is one of the canonical hours, one of the prayers one says during the 24 hours cycle. Revealing this to the other bishops, he told them to be diligent in their prayers, and that he himself would keep vigil at the doors. In a, in a marvelous way, at the hours of matins, as though sent by God, Nicholas was there before them all. The bishop took hold of him and says, "What is your name?" full of dove-like simplicity and head bowed, he replied, "Nicholas, your holiness' servant." And they led him into the church and seated him on the throne, though he resisted greatly. And he acted in all things with the same humility and gravity of manner as he has shown before. Okay, so he just became a bishop of Myra in a very, very uncanonic, I mean, not typical way, original way. He prayed through the night, mortified his body, and shunned the company of women. He looked up to all in humility. He was effective in speech, lively in exhortation, and severe in correcting. It is also stated that it is also stated in a chronicle that Nicholas participated in the Council of Nicaea. Okay, so here we have the date, right? Here we have the date. The Council of Nicaea is 325. So that dates our life of Nicholas. An internal dating, the best one you can get. Chapter 3. One day some sailors, who were about to perish at sea, tearfully prayed, "Nicholas, servant of God, if the things we have heard of you are true, let us have proof of them now." And at once a man of his likeness appeared and said, "Here I am, for you all have called me." When Jaska Mosque, maybe there is 17 minutes, maybe we should make a pause at each scene so it doesn't get too long. Okay, here we go again. One day some sailors were about to perish at sea, and they tearfully prayed, "Nicholas, servant of God, if the things we have heard of you are true, let us have proof of them now." Yeah, apparently Nicholas has already have a fame, an opinion. People already know that he is a saint. They know that he is a very, man close to God, and they call for his help like one does with the saints. And at once a man of his likeness appeared and said, "Here I am for you. You have called me." And he began to help them with the sails and ropes and other ship's equipment. And at once the storm ended. But when they came to his church, they recognized him, who they had not seen before, without being told who he was. Then they okay, so it was they suddenly a guy just appeared on their ship and helped them, and then the storm was ended. And then they came to the church in Myra and met Saint Nicholas, and they all already recognized him. They knew who he was because they seen him on the ship. Then they offered thanks to God and to him for their deliverance. He instructed them to attribute it to God's mercy and to their faith, and not to any merit of his. That's what the saints does. Once upon a time, a great famine struck the whole of St. Nicholas province, such that all were short of food. The men of God, hearing that ships loaded with wheat had arrived at the port, headed there immediately, begging the sailors to rescue the suffering with at least 100 pecks of wheat from each ship. They replied, "We do not dare, father, since it was measured at Alexandria, and we must deliver it to the emperor's granaries." He said to them, "Do now what I say. I promise you, by the power of God, that you will not have a bit less of at the imperial inspection." Ah, that's. I wonder what would we do if we were in the same situation? Would we give people the grain and take a risk, or would we sail further? See, we have famine at Myra, and there are ships coming to the harbor with grain. but they are not there. It's not there. It's just a transfer. It's like a transit. They are just staying there overnight, and then they're sailing further to Constantinople. They are they are sailing from Alexandria in Egypt to Constantinople, and they stopped in Myra. No, interesting. And when they had done this, they delivered to the ministers of the emperor the same amount they had taken abroad in Alexandria. They reported the miracle and greatly praised God through his servant. And the men of God distributed the grain to each according to his need, such that miraculously for 2 years it was not only enough to live on, but also enough to sow. No, that's what I call a good miracle. It was not only enough to live on, but also enough to sow. That's really nice. Chapter 5. When the people of that region had served idols, they had especially worshipped an image of the abominable Diana. Even in the time of the men of God, the man of God is Saint Nicholas. It's like a standard description. I mean, it's a standard name of a saint in his life or his liturgy. Vir Dei. It means the person whose life we are reading. Even in the time of the men of God, some peasants still practice the execrable religion and offer the pagan rites beneath a tree consecrated to Diana. Oh, what a horrible peasants! But the men of God expelled the practice from his borders and ordered that the tree be cut down. Angered by this, the ancient enemy concocted the oil Madiate, Madiate, which could burn unnaturally on water on stones, and transforming himself into the form of a nun, he went in a little fishing boat to meet people who were sailing to the men of God. And he said to them, I would like to go with you to this holy man of God, but I cannot. Therefore I beg you to offer this oil at his church, and in remembrance of me use it to anoint the walls of the hall. And suddenly she was gone. And they saw another boat with honest people abroad, including one who looked very much like Saint Nicholas, who said to them, What did that woman tell you, and what did she bring? And they recounted all to him in order. He said to them, This was shameless Diana, and so that you may know that I speak the truth, cast the oil into the sea. They threw it, and a great fire was lit on the sea, and they saw it burn violently for a long time on the sea, contrary to nature. When they reached the servant of God, they said, You are truly he who appeared to us at sea and saved us from the treachery of the devil. Wow, what a story! What a horrible story. The abominable Diana, the Roman goddess of hunt and forest and wilderness. Probably, of course, Nicholas, Saint Nicholas, and all the people, they are Greek, so it's not Diana, it's Artemida. But we are reading the Latin text, so it has been translated into Diana, and that she took form of some nun and tried to basically burn Saint Nicholas's church with some unnatural, awful fire. That's not nice of her. Chapter 6. Around the same time, a certain tribe rebelled against the Roman Empire, and the emperor sent three princes against them: Nepotianus, Ursus, and Apilio. They were forced by a headwind to put in Andriaca, the port of Myra. Okay, so we have a port of, so Myra is a little bit in the. Let us see how it's. Let us see it on the map. Let us make a pause and see it all on the map. Okay, so here we have Andriaca. Uh, here we have Myra. What? I'm in the wrong. Here we have Myra, and here we have Andriaca. See, so Myra is a little bit up in the mm, upland, and Andriaca is a harbor. Here we have Patara, the city that Nicholas's father apparently came from, and here is of course the Mediterranean Sea. And now let's see how it's shown on the within the map of Turkey, because nowadays it would be Turkey, of course, because everything is in Turkey now. See, so this is Myra, and this is Turkey as it is. It was of course all mm, the Eastern Roman Empire. So we're back to the text. Around chapter we are on chapter 6, so we're about halfway. I think we only go onto the up to the death of Saint Nicholas. I don't think we will read the miracles. Around the time, around the same time, a certain tribe rebelled against the Roman Empire, and the emperor sent three princes against them: Nepotianus, Ursus, and Apilio. They were forced by a headwind to put in Andriaca, the port of Myra. The blessed Nicholas invited them to dine with him, desiring that they would restrain their men from the plundering as they usually did in the marketplace. Yeah, that's a smart thing to do. Uh, but while the saint was away, the consul, corrupted by money, commanded the three innocent soldiers to be beheaded. What? When the holy man heard this, he asked the princess to hurry with him. T- tease her. Tease her? What does it mean? Quotus sanctus audivit, agabis princes ivesunt secum illuc usque gradu cog consider. Okay, it just will mean further, like closer. Coming to the place when they were to be beheaded, he found them kneeling and blindfolded, and the executioner with his sword poised above their heads. Nicholas, seized with zeal, boldly threw himself upon the executioner and took the sword from the man's grasp, casting it away. He released the innocent men and left them away safe and sound. Then he then hurried to the consul's headquarters and forced open the locked doors. Immediately the consul came running and greeted him, but the saint, ignoring this, said, "Enemy of God, perverter of the law, with what temerity do you presume to look us in the face, knowing full well of your crime?" Yeah, doesn't matter what temerity is. It just means that the consul is a motherfucker. After he reprimanded him severely, at the behest of the princess, he kindly pardoned the penitent. When they had received the blessing, the imperial messengers went on their way, and they subdued the wicked rebels without bloodshed. Okay, so the princes do not have a important role in this whole story. They are just there because they are passing, and it's an occasion to apparently to some heavy drinking, and heavy drinking is an occasion to um, um, executing some free innocent soldiers who had a bad luck of going coming into the consul's way. And returning, they were magnificently received by the emperor. Though some, envious of their happiness, suggested with words and money to the emperor's prefects that he denounce the princess before the emperor for lèse majesté, the crime against the ruler, the treason, basically the treason or the offense of the emperor. And then this was suggested to the emperor, and when this was suggested to the emperor, he was filled with great rage, commanding that they be imprisoned and with no further investigation killed that same night. When they learned this from their jailer, they rent their garments and began to weep bitterly. Then one of them, Nepocianus, remembering how the blessed Nicholas had freed the three innocent men, urged the others to beg his help. In response to their prayer, Saint Nicholas that night appeared to Emperor Constantine, saying, "Why have you so unjustly arrested those princes and condemned them to death for no crime? Arise quickly and command that they be set free without delay. Otherwise, I pray to God that the kindle of war against you, in which you shall fall and become the food for wild beasts." Okay, so there is no joking here. The emperor responded, "Who are you who enter my palace at night and dare to speak such things?" He said to him, "I am Nicholas, bishop of the city of Myra." And in a similar way he terrified the prefect in a vision, saying, "Who have you who have lost your mind and your senses, why did you agree to the death of three innocents? Go at once and hasten to free them, otherwise your body shall teem with worms and your house be destroyed." Now, as we see, the Nicholas is applying the suitable punishments for the emperor, for the prefect. He replied, "Who are you to threaten us in this way?" "Know me," he answered, "to be Nicholas, the bishop of the city of Myra." Bond, James Bond. When they both awoke, they told their dreams to each other and immediately sent for the prisoners. The emperor asked them, "What sorcery have you learned, that you make sport of us by such dreams?" They replied that they were not magicians, and neither did they merit the death sentence. Then the emperor asked, "Do you know a man called Nicholas?" And when they heard this name, they raised their hands to heaven, praying God to free them from their present danger through the merit of Saint Nicholas. And when the emperor had heard from them the whole story of his life and miracles, he said to them, "Go and give thanks to God, who has freed you through the men's prayers. But also offer that man my gifts, asking him to threaten me no longer, but rather to pray to the Lord for me and for my realm." A few days later, three men went to the servant of God and prostrated themselves, saying, "Truly, you are the servant of God, and truly a worshipper and lover of Christ." And when they had reported everything in order, he raised his hands to heaven and gave great praise to God, and he sent the princes back home well instructed. Interesting. So we do not even know if he knew that he appeared to them in a dream. When they had reported everything in order, he raised his hands to heaven. Yeah, well, maybe he knew, maybe he didn't. Chapter 7. When the Lord wished to take him up, he prayed the Lord to send his angels to him, and bowing his head he saw the angels come to him. And when he had said the psalm, "O thee, O Lord, have I hope, as far as into thy hands," He gave up his spirit in the year of our Lord 343 to the sound of heavenly music. Okay, so here we have the death of Saint Nicholas. He is he is saying the prayer. He sees the angels. He's bowing to the angels, and then he's saying the psalm. In thee, O Lord, have I hope. I don't know which number is that, but that last verse, as far as into thy hands, that would be, into thy hands I give my spirit, which is also what Jesus said on the cross when he was dying. So in his death, Saint Nicholas is trying to be like Jesus. When he had been buried in a marble tomb, a fount of oil gushed from his head, and a fount of water from his feet, and to this day a holy oil exudes from his body that brings health to many people. That's very useful. A good man succeeded him, but he was expelled from his see by envious men. I mean, from his see, meaning from the city, from Myra. When he was removed, the oil ceased to flow, but it immediately flowed again once he was recalled. After a long time, the Turks destroyed the city of Myra. 47 soldiers went forth from Bari, and with 4 monks attending them, opened the tomb of St. Nicholas. They brought the bones, floating in oil, back to the city of Bari in the year of our Lord 1087. This is important because that's where the relics of Saint Nicholas were in the Middle Ages. They were in the city of Bari, and people were going pilgrimages, and they were visiting Saint Nicholas in Bari, and it was actually the center of the cult from which he was famous. Oh, that's I think will be because there is now a series of miracles that he performed after his death. I think we will just read the first one because it's about a Jew. Let's see what happened with the Jew. A certain man borrowed a sum of money from a Jew, swearing upon the altar of St. Nicholas, since no other guarantor was to be had, that he would repay it as soon as he was able. When he had held it for a long time, the Jew demanded it back. But he claimed he had already, but then, but he claimed that he had already returned it. The Jew brought him before a judge, and an oath was imposed on the debtor. He had brought with him a hollow staff filled with the gold pieces, as though he needed it for support. Being willing to swear the oath, he handed the staff to the Jew to hold for him. The man then swore that he had paid back even more than he owed. Having sworn his oath, he asked for his staff back, and the Jew, unaware of his cunning, returned it to him. When the man who has committed the fraud was returning home, he was overcome by sleep and collapsed in at a certain crossroads. Wow! A cart came with great force, killing him and breaking his staff full of gold, which poured out of it. Hearing of it, the Jew hurried to the spot. Well, of course he did. When he had seen the treachery, it was suggested by many that he should take back the gold, but he emphatically refused unless the dead man should be restored to life through the merits of the blessed Nicholas. He maintained that if this should come to pass, he would receive baptism and become a Christian. Without delay, he who had been dead was raised, and the Jew was baptized in the name of Christ. That's a good miracle story. That's a really good one. When I was reading it, I thought the man is going to win, and he will cheat on the poor Jew, but apparently he didn't. Okay, here we are. 40 minutes. That was a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, that was that. All the best for St. Nicholas Day.